Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here, welcome back to the Railway and welcome to another bargain rolling stock review. So it has been quite a long while since I last did a rolling stock review, and to be honest I'm in the mood for it. So I've picked one out for you today. It is the Hornby LMS horse box, and I'll give you 3 clues as to what it was about this that caught my attention. Here's a tiny little clue though, it was the price. And knowing how cheap I am, I'm sure that isn't going to be a massive surprise to most of you. However, I have never met anybody in my life that doesn't like a bargain, so stay tuned for this one, I'm sure you'll quite like this. So as I say, a real bargain. Hornby's price, the RRP for this horse box is £21.99, so 22 quid. That's more or less the going rate for a, I don't know, what would we say, a medium-sized piece of rolling stock, so not too bad. However, I found these on Hatton's for, are you ready for this? £9. So for less than a tenner you can pick this horse box up, and I believe that's, what is that, that's 60% off I think, so that is major sale of the century pricing right there. And they also have BR versions too. I'm not sure what the price of the BR versions are, but the LMS one is certainly £9. So if you're interested, if you want to pick one of these up, I have included a link in the description while they've still got them at that price. The good thing about these is, if I've remembered this correctly, it was quite usual just to have one of these on a train. I think I understand the way these worked. If you had a horse and you wanted to transport it by train, you could have it arranged that a horse box would be put onto a certain service, and then I think you would just take your horse along and put it on. I assume it would be quite an expensive thing to do, but if I remember correctly, I think that's the way it worked. If not, I'm sure someone will let me know. But I'm going to stop waffling, let's get this out and find out what this £21 down to £9 Hornby horse box is like. Okay, let's try it. Right, so yes, a horse box, and I believe they've got one of these at Swanwick, is it Swanwick Junction at the Midland Railway Centre? I'm sure I've been aboard one of these, although obviously a slightly larger scaled one. But yeah, as you can see, very lovely packaging from Hornby as per usual, and it's in that blister pack which keeps it nice and safe. So that's all good, I'm sure this will be in perfect condition. If I show you the end of the box, you can see the catalogue number for this one, which is R6727, LMS of course, and you could probably see from the front that it was LMS anyway. Horse box, and then the running number there is 42489 if I've read that correctly. Besides that, there's not a great deal to see on the rest of the box, and that's quite usual for rolling stock, so that's good for us, we can get straight inside. So here we go, and yeah, as always, I haven't had this out of the box, as you can tell, because I seem to be completely unable to open this one. Oh, blimey. That's it, folks. Goodbye. End of review. Can't get it out the sodding box. Okay. Sorry about that. Just trying to think whether sodding is a swear word or not. No, I don't think it is. I think we're good. Okay, here we go. The things I have to worry about. Apologies if I offended anyone. Okay, I got it out. That was a fight, but here it is. Okay, well, I think I'll just get it straight out then and show it to you. Here we go. All right. Okay, so the first thing, well, there's 2 things that I've noticed first of all. To start with, the underframe. I'm going to look at this more closely in a second, but just look at the level of detail on the lower portion of this wagon. That is absolutely unbelievable. Yeah, for £21, you would sort of expect that, wouldn't you? But for £9, certainly not. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the weight. It is admittedly quite a light wagon. Most of them tend to be. However, it does seem to be reasonably good quality. Just looking at it for the first time, I can't see any bits dropping off or any bits bending under my fingers or anything like that. So that's all very good. It seems to be a very nicely detailed and also fairly solid piece of rolling stock, which I'm pretty pleased with, actually, for the money. So, here we go then. Let's get this up against the white background, shall we, and take a nice close look and, yeah, check out some of the details. Okay, so there it is then, the very lovely Hornby LMS horse box, up close and personal for you, and I think I have to admit I am quite easily blown away, aren't I? But I'm going to say once again, I think I am more or less blown away by the level of detail on this. As I said earlier on, for £21.99, I think you'd completely expect that, but since I paid only £9 for this, I think I was subconsciously expecting this to be more similar to the Hornby Railroad range in terms of its detail, but that's certainly not what we've got here. There is an incredible amount of detail on this. I think if I was going to be super critical, some of the details are just part of the moulding, and normally you'd expect those to be separately fitted. I think for £21.99 you might be a bit disappointed about some of those, but for the incredibly modest price of just £9, you absolutely can't complain, and it still goes above and beyond for that price. And what I mean by that is obviously the door handles and parts around the door, which you can see have been separately painted though, so that's pretty nice. And around the ends you can see we don't have any separately fitted lamp irons or things like that. So just minor things really, very minor things, which as I say are not a huge complaint. And while we're looking at the ends, you can see we do have the pre-fitted vacuum hoses, which is very nice to see. We have metal buffers as well, so none of your plastic rubbish on this model. That's very good to see. They're not sprung or anything like that, but they are nice and fine scale, which makes them nice and realistic. You do have quite a few, what I'm assuming are handrails, which are indeed separately fitted. So you've got this quite large one here, which I think is metal. Yeah, it will be probably metal wire. And then on the roof, you've got another one there. And then on the other side, the far side, you've got another handrail there. So quite a lot of intricate handrails going on there. The paintwork is quite nicely done as well. As you can see, we've got the running number. You'll already have seen this when I showed you the door handles, but as you can see, that's nicely applied. And also the LMS logo there on the opposite side, which is good to see. The underframe also has quite a bit of printing on it, including this HB here, which I'm going to guess stands for Horsebox. That sounds too deceptively simple, doesn't it? But yeah, that's what I'm going to go with. And as I've already said, yes, the underframe detail is just astonishing. Obviously, the real-life prototype must be super complex on the underframe, or at least there's an awful lot to see, because, yeah, that's one of the most complicated looking, at least in model form, that I've ever seen, so that's pretty cool. The other thing, I suppose, is that the doors don't really look like doors, obviously because it's just all part of the body moulding. There's no real sort of gaps around the doors, which just makes them look a little bit fake, I suppose. But again, it's not much of a big deal, and I suppose the fact that we're under bright lights here doesn't help either. But in the naked eye, once I get all these lights out of here, it does look a lot better. Here, though, it just looks like, yeah, there are no doors on it at all, but obviously there are sort of big doors on the back end there, for presumably for the horses to get in and out. And then a smaller set of doors with windows so that I suppose passengers can get on and off. I assume the horse owners would want to stay with their horses to make sure they're not getting distressed on the journey. And indeed, there is even a bench. I'm really sorry if you can't see this very well, but there is some sort of interior bench put into there. Obviously no windows for the horses, because I think it stresses them out, doesn't it, to see the world going by super quick, and you certainly don't want them panicking on a train, so I'm guessing that's why it is. But this compartment at the end, I'm going to hazard a guess and say is for passengers, because as I say, I can see a bench inside there, so that's pretty cool. The roof is pretty detailed as well. You've got lots of ventilation. I don't know what someone did tell me the name, that's quite embarrassing, but I think they are for ventilation, aren't they? Quite a few of those, so there's plenty of fresh air going on inside the box. I think that's the way they work. Again, if I've got the wrong end of the stick, please do let me know. And a few other nice quality touches, such as the pre-fitted tension lock couplings, which do come on the model. You haven't got to faff about with those. They are fitted into NEM pockets though, so if you don't want those, or they're not your coupling of choice, you can get rid of them quite nice and easily. And you've also got very nice realistic looking metal wheels, no plastic wheels on this, and it costs you 10 quid for a pack of, well, 5 sets of metal wheels. So that just gives you an idea of the value really of this for £9. So there we go, that's just a whistle-stop tour. The moulded detail, by the way, is very, very impressive, as you can see on the side there. Quite a lot to see in terms of the moulded detail. I mean, just for the price and for the fact that they can run on their own, you know, well, not on their own, but as a single unit, as part of a passenger train, makes them really quite handy, and they can spice up an LMS passenger train and just make it look that little bit more interesting. So I can highly recommend this, and in fact, I'm very, very glad I picked one up. I was thinking, Horsebox, is that going to make an interesting video? The answer's still probably not. However, I'm glad I've got one, because they are pretty cool. So, Horsebox, very, very nice. Now, let's take it out into the field. Oh dear, that sounds ominous, and see how this works. You see, I told you I wasn't kidding about the whole field thing, but I can spot a slight flaw in this plan. Is this the smallest we've got? I mean, the Horsebox isn't that big. Over here. All right. Okay, folks, I think we've got the wrong horse, so I'm sure this will be fine. Come on, let's go. Hello there. Well, look, this isn't that much better size. We'll try. Okay. Get in. Go on. Get in. No, you know, I don't think this is going to work. This was all a bit silly, really. Never mind. Oh well, let's go back home. I think we have to test this in a slightly different way. Okay, here we are back where I belong in the loft. So as you can see, I've set up some railway items here. First of all, we have the LMS Patriot. Probably $2,000 an engine really for a small passenger train like this, but nonetheless there it is. And then behind it, a little way further back down the track, ooh, that was a nice rhyme, I've set up 3 passenger coaches as well, and of course there's this big gap in between the two, which I'm going to fill with the, with the horse box. Now the first thing I've noticed is that the, one of the axles, which one is it? Yeah, that one doesn't go round very easily. In fact, it stops as soon as you spin it. Now, I thought, perhaps it just needs a bit of oil, and in fact, to give this the best possible chance, I did put a bit of oil on it, but it's still quite difficult to turn. So this is not quite as freewheeling as some of the others. In fact, if I did this to that Oxford Rail Toad, I think it was, that I reviewed, it would go and go and go. This one, not the case. So it's not terrible, as you can see. It doesn't just stop dead as soon as I let go. However, it's not quite as, it's going to have a bit more drag than you want, probably, but not critically or anything like that. So, I'll tell you what, let's put this a bit further forward. Let's bring the coaches a bit further forward, and I will just back the Patriot up. Let's see if we can't get it all to couple together. So there we go, horse box and coaches, all sorted. So, let's take it off then and see how this looks. I can honestly say I've never had a horse box on a train before, so that's pretty cool. Okay, and then on the middle line, an even more sort of grand looking train, we have the Princess Royal. Here it comes now with quite a big rake of coaches. In fact, I'm not sure how many we've got there, 3, 6, looks like 7. So that's quite the serious train there. Quite a nice big load. Of course, the Princess can manage it absolutely easily. No problem at all with that. And then at the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we have just a tiny little local commuter run, I suppose. It is, of course, the Ginty with 2 LMS coaches. So there we go, enjoy the running session. Let's see how the horse box looks among the coaches and engines, shall we? So as you can tell, it works great, and it just makes a sort of ordinary looking passenger train that little bit more interesting. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to chuck it on once in a while on the occasional passenger train and just spice things up a bit. In real life, I don't think they happen very often, but if you get one of these, you can just cause it to appear once in a while and just add that little bit of realism. And it looks good. As I say, it just gives the train that slightly different look so that you don't get stuck doing the same thing over and over again every time. So that's pretty good. I like it. And the other thing, of course, is that it's super detailed but also super cheap. And obviously that's not a combination that you often see. So if you just want to add a super detailed model to your collection and not break the bank doing so, then it's also a very good option. So I'm struggling to find a fault with this, folks. I'm very, very glad I bought this. Alright, so here are some ratings then for the quite impressive actually Hornby horse box. The level of detail, first of all, I've given this 4-star. Yes, it was very, very impressive, more so than I thought it would be. I suppose quite a lot of the detail was just moulded onto the body and not separately fitted, and I suppose if you had paid the full price of £21.99, that might be a bit disappointing for you, but for the very, very heavily discounted price of £9, that's absolutely fine. It's more than adequate, and the detail, as I say, was quite impressive. Performance, once again, 4 out of 5. It performs as it's supposed to. It doesn't derail or anything like that. However, it is a little bit light, and so if you put too many coaches behind it, I guess that might be a problem. And also the axles aren't that free turning on the chassis, which is a bit of a shame. I have tried oiling them too, but that doesn't seem to help. They are a bit too tight. They're being squeezed a bit too tightly, but it's all fairly minor. It hasn't got massive amounts of drag or anything. The quality though is very, very good, partly because there isn't an awful lot of separately fitted detail to drop off, but also partly because it is just a very good quality model. So I've given that a 5-star, and also the value, I've given it a 5-star. £21.99 is a bit dubious, but I think £9 is so good that I'm going to give it the full 5-star. So overall then, that is 9.09 out of 10. Yes, I can highly recommend this one. For £9, you can't go wrong. So link in the description if you want to pick yourself one up and add something just a little bit different and a bit unusual to an LMS passenger, or I guess freight train, then this is a good option. I would say this is a very safe option. And just watch that Princess go. Almost makes me excited for the new Hornby Princess that's supposed to be coming out this year. I'm sure they'll be very, very impressive. And the Ginty, obviously, yes. Got to love that. Oops. Just missed the horse box now over all those LMS coaches. Nope, we've got it again. So there it goes. Yeah, it's strange actually. I don't know if there's something wrong with me, but I've thoroughly enjoyed doing that. To say it's just a horse box. It's just quite pleasurable to see a good quality piece of rolling stock, really. I think that's probably the reason. Alright then folks, well I hope you enjoyed that. As always, keep those suggestions coming in for other engines and rolling stock you'd like me to review, and I will certainly do my best to try and do some of them for you. But for the time being, that's it. That's another rolling stock review under our belts. And yes, overall, obviously, very, very good. I can strongly recommend picking yourself one up, and of course they make a good gift as well, because they're very, very good, but not very expensive, so great all round. Well, thanks for watching folks, thanks for your time, thank you for your company, and I will see you all very, very soon with another video. Okay, take care folks, and I will talk to you next time. Cheers everybody.